how do you see the lending industry, the environment today?
The lending industry in Canada, and I'm not so sure that it isn't the same in the US, has changed in the sense that regulatory bodies have become an incredible part of the day-to-day business transaction. And it's sad in many ways. It just seems to be the way the world is moving in terms of regulation in almost every aspect in every industry. I look at our industry and I note that the players that are in the industry that are still doing lots of good business were always the guys that stepped up and volunteered to see that the mortgage community was always healthy and moving in the right direction, and it was a community that was serving the needs of the public. There were always periphery players attracted to the industry that thought they could take money and bite off chunks of the business, and they did, and in many cases gave the industry a bad name. The honest players are still here today. They're complying with all the regulations that have been imposed on us by multiple different layers of government and bureaucracy, and I'm talking about the real estate boards and real estate councils and the ASC. Anyway, my view has always been that good business people, honest business people, will always do good business. Rules are made for the cheats in the industry. The good business people don't need the same rules. Nevertheless, everybody gets pulled into the same kind of dragnet that is out there when it comes to rules and regulations. And that's fine. What it did was it winnowed out the bad players, and the good players are complying with rules and regulations, and they're standing today doing good business.
So now on the other side of the coin, from the mortgage investor's perspective, you can say whether it's changed a lot. I think that it's both, there's some good and bads that are currently going on. What's your perspective on the mortgage investor in Canada?
The biggest change for a mortgage investor, in my view, is the direct contact with the actual file and the asset. There used to be a day when every mortgage investor would know the house, the address, the condition, and they probably get a little more information about the client. Today with technology, information flows much more freely. You can winnow out bad deals and keep good deals in a box and manage them more efficiently with technology. The cost of management might be less, although the cost of technology always come into play. And it's a marketplace where involvement in large portfolios and sharing risk on multiple assets is probably a great place to be. It's a good investment, and exposure to market changes becomes more of a ripple than a wave.
Right, and it seems to be still rather independent of the volatility of the equity markets.
Yes, markets change. We've gone through some dramatic markets over the '08 crash, the hedge fund problems, and one can say today that we're in a crash due to the oil industry. However, when you've got large pools of mortgages, you can ride through some of these lows. And I've looked back at 3 or 4 recessions that I've been involved in, and when you go into them, everybody's afraid. You get into them, you accept what's going on, you change your underwriting criteria, and it's often, a year or two later that you look at your business and say, wow, we got through that. Nobody lost any capital, we all made some money, we tightened down all our underwriting, we did what we needed to do, and we're standing today putting out yields. So the most important thing to me is spreading risk. And spreading risk doesn't mean you go to mutual funds or you go to equities or the stock market. I still look at asset-backed securities like mortgages and multiples of them as a great format for spreading risk. And today Alta West is doing business in multiple provinces, which to me is a very good move. And that's spreading risk to different economic regions. And when you factor that in, I think, once again, you're taking out deeper troughs and higher waves.